what you pack on a nightly basis in your jiu-jitsu bag actually has a big effect on how much you get out of training, on how you feel during training, whether or not you get injured in that class, and most importantly, how you smell during that training session. So today I'm gonna empty out my backpack and I'm gonna show you guys all of the different tips and tricks that I have for always being prepared to get every single ounce out of every training session. Let's get into the video. Now, the first part of any what's in my bag video that really matters is what bag are you using? So right here, I have the Datsu Sara 45-liter combat bag. I really, really love this. I just got it a couple weeks ago, and man, the quality, you can tell, you can feel the durability on it, the amount of pockets that there are, it really is just my favorite backpack that I've ever had. The one note, and this is something that was really exciting that I didn't see anywhere, was what kind of zippers that they used. And so if you're like me and you're a weird backpack guy, you see YKK zippers and you are pumped. YKK is like the industry standard when it comes to zippers on bags. That means that on top of the hemp blend that they use that is gonna be ultra durable, the zippers that they use are gonna be ultra durable. And I've had so many different jiu-jitsu brand backpacks. I won't bash anybody's brand, but one of the biggest problems that I've had with a lot of these bags is that the zippers break. They put a lot of compartments in there for you, but those compartments just end up open all the time because they do not put durable zippers. And yeah, something that I'm really excited about that probably nobody else will be is the YKK zippers on these bags. Now, on top of what bag you have, what gear you have in that bag is also incredibly important. And I know you jiu-jitsu guys here, when I say gear, you're like, oh, sweet, Josh is gonna talk about steroids. But that's not what I mean. I mean what training gear you have. So we'll start out, of course, with your belt. This is one of my favorite belts that I have. When you get to black belt, you have to have a couple belts because they kind of just get beaten up so bad over the years. But this is the one that my coach gave me, so it has a lot of sentimental value. It's also a Kitaro belt, so it's the most expensive jiu-jitsu belt that I've ever had. Made in the USA, the quality of these is really, really good. And even to the point of how they wear out is done on purpose. Like I said, all jiu-jitsu belts are going to wear out, and they make these actually wear in a certain way. You can actually get other colors underneath, so you could have red underneath this, and as it wears out, you'll be able to start to see that red come through. Really, really love this belt. It's held up great. I've had it for 6 years, and I would say I use it for about 80% of my training sessions. Not allowed to compete in it anymore just because of how beat up it is, but I really, really love it. It really has been great. Now, the next thing of importance is, of course, your gi. And you know, I'm one of those guys that's got the last name on the back of their gi, gym, team name, and then of course my podcast, the Icicle Jiu-Jitsu Show. This was an imposed will drop that they did. This actually wasn't available to the public, but they sent this to me because they love me, and it made me feel really good about it, and I thought I would share it with you guys on this video. The other imposed will set that I have, and I know maybe you're like, oh, Josh, I'm a no-gi guy. I only do no-gi. Why would I need a gi? Well, I guess you don't. But if that is the case, I personally am a big fan of always having both gi and no-gi on you, because even though I train 10 no-gi sessions a year, I train those 10 no-gi sessions when a no-gi only guy comes in and is like, oh, I only do no-gi. And I'm like, well, guess what, buddy? Boom, you didn't see that coming. The camo imposed will kit, the Icicle Jiu-Jitsu Show kit. This we did a run on last year, and I'm sure that we will bring this one back sometime this year. If you want to know when that's going to be, get on my email list, the Gazette. But this is my favorite one that we've done. Just something really cool about this one is we always put we call it the dog pound, but we always put the Too Sweet logo throughout our gear. And Adam from Imposed Will actually hid little if you can see that, yeah, it hid little dog pounds throughout this camo, and I didn't even notice when I approved the rash guard or the shorts. I didn't notice until people started getting them in, and I started seeing them like, wait, you put one logo? That's weird. And I was like, oh, there's a bunch of them. They're just hidden in the camo. So definitely should have gi, no gi, just in case. You never know. What if you've done no gi your whole life? You're a no gi black belt, whatever that is, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna beat this guy down. He's like, oh, well, I only wear the bathrobe. You can't beat him up because he's wearing more clothes. That's embarrassing, dude. You got to be able to do both. Anyone who can't, weenie. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the next pocket. This bad boy right here. I think the brand is Rubs, R-U-B-Z, and they're on Amazon. They're everywhere, and they have different sizes of these, but this is by far my favorite roller ball. This version is a little small. This is for really hands and feet. If you have plantar fasciitis, if your hands are beat up from jiu-jitsu, this thing will help so much. The bigger versions are really good if you have pain in your back, things like that. But I really like this because of how small it is, how cheap it is, and of course how useful it is. You could have something bigger, like a real roller. The only problem is these take up so much space. They're much more useful, especially with back injuries, with back tightness. But I would say that the big thing that I don't like about these is how much space they take. You're having to fill up this hole with all kinds of random crap in your bag to get it to make sense. There is a version of this that I don't know the brand off the top of my head. If I find it, I'll link it, but it actually flattens, and so it goes from this round shape to a flat shape. If you have like a laptop bag part of your backpack, it's really easy to just slide that in there. But I think they're like $70, bro. In this economy, I can't be spending $70 on a foam roller. But if that is you, I get it. Something you need, you're beat up, you need one of these things, and having the one that flattens so you can take it anywhere, I'm sure it's really nice. Now, we're still kind of looking at pre-training type stuff, and so I have a few different things that I like for pre-training. One of the first ones, and I used to use something different. I've never really been a pre-workout guy before jiu-jitsu. I always feel like too much caffeine, I end up gassing really hard in jiu-jitsu, and I don't seem to get the same out of the training. And something that I've used for years is peppermint oil. Some people say that it's an anchor. I just noticed that like the sinuses opening up, maybe it is an anchor, maybe it is something that does just make everything click and reminds me that I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu because I've done it for so long that way. But recently, one of my students turned me on to Grenades gum. And the thing about Grenades gum is it is like most gum. It has flavor to it, it's sweet, it's delicious. But the difference is it has a explosion of flavor in the very beginning. That flavor is peppermint. And it opens up your sinuses, and I have found a lot of success using this before jiu-jitsu tournaments and pretty much before every class. The only caveat to Grenades gum, don't let any of the homies try it because they will sneak into your backpack and try to steal your Grenades gum. So I'm gonna actually I'm gonna blur out the part of the video where it showed where I was even keeping this. I probably shouldn't even tell you guys about this, but it's available on Amazon. I'll again link that in the description. And next, while we're still on the pre-jiu-jitsu, pre-class things, and this I guess you can do during or after, but I really notice a difference using these electrolyte drinks before class. So these are Element. I prefer Element over any of the other ones that I've tried. I know a lot of people don't because it's so salty, but I think there's something to the amount of sodium that you get and jiu-jitsu performance. I noticed that cognitively, I am sharper, and then physically, I don't wear out near as much. I used this for the first time at Chicago Open like last year, and it was one of the first tournaments that I've gotten double gold in a very long time. Who knows if those things are correlated, but I really do think that it makes a difference. And next, we're gonna talk about tape. So here's the thing with tape for jiu-jitsu. It makes you weak mentally, but sometimes you gotta have it, man. Sometimes your finger is hanging on by a thread, sometimes your ankle's hanging on by a thread, and you have to have tape. I don't have any brand that I am partial to. I feel like I've borrowed everyone's brand of jiu-jitsu tape, and I've never really noticed like, oh, this one seems better than all the others. If I'm being totally honest with you guys, I am not a huge fan of most athletic tape that I've ever used. Something people will also add is pre-wrap, and again, pre-wrap makes you soft, dude. If you're not training hard enough that the adhesive isn't just coming off by the time you're done training, what was the point of even taping your finger, wrist, ankle? You know, toughen up. But no, some people are really, really into pre-wrap. Some people like to pre-tape their fingers, whether or not they're injured. Never really been that. I just do it for injury's sake. Now, that being said, I do find that most athletic tape it just isn't strong enough. There's too much give to it for significant injuries when you need to be taping it. And that is when it's time to break out the old duct tape. This is a hot take, but a lot of the worst injuries I've had, thumb injuries, things like that, I have used duct tape to actually support that injury, and then I'll usually wrap it in athletic tape just because duct tape's a little rough. I don't want to reach and rub somebody's eye with it or something like that. But duct tape, very, very useful, not just in your home appliances, but for your jiu-jitsu injuries too. Now, the next thing that we will look at, this is a big one, is having dedicated sandals. Having dedicated sandals for your jiu-jitsu. You don't want to have to be that guy that walks out with his tennis shoes like standing on the back of them because he forgot any other type of footwear in the gym. And so you guys know the Brazilians have been beating me down for years. So if I am going to support a Brazilian made product, it must be pretty freaking good. And I absolutely love Havaiana sandals. I think I got these at Nordstrom Rack or something like that, and they were like $7, and so I couldn't pass it up. And they are still, you know, I got them a couple of years ago, still my favorite pair of sandals besides the other Havaianas that I've had. I will warn you, if you ever leave Havaianas like in a shoe rack by the beach, they always get stolen. I don't know if it's just because people love them so much. I don't know if it's a Brazilian thing, no idea. But these things are the king of getting stolen, so getting the most unique ones possible, so at least you can see who stole them and then beat that person up later, I think is ideal. So we've looked at kind of like all the pre and all the during training stuff that I prefer, that I think you should be using, I think you should have in your bag. Now, there are a few post-training things that I think are also very important. And the first one of these things to note is not all jiu-jitsu schools have showers. Sometimes you go for a seminar and you get done training, it's a couple hours away, and you're like, oh no, there is no shower. Or a jiu-jitsu tournament or whatever the scenario is, and you were like, well, I have nothing else I can do. I'm just gonna go sit in my own stink and everybody else's from the day and hope I don't get ringworm or I don't get a staph infection. So there's a lot of different thoughts on different products that you can use, like defense wipes or things like that. And this is a new one that was sent to me by the company Aval. This is a natural sanitizer. It is organic, it's plant-based, it is alcohol-free, and I've used it for that, man, we gotta drive a couple hours before I'm gonna get to take a real shower, for a couple months now, and I have no ringworm or staph infections. It's pretty anecdotal evidence, but be sure to check this group out. Now, it's also really important to have an actual shower kit, and something that you can look at in your shower kit. It can be very simple, it can be very in-depth, and you have every little thing. But really, the two things that I find that are necessary is, of course, hair product for after your shower. This is Kevin Murphy Rough Rider. I have used this forever. This will keep your hair looking great after 3 or 4 matches at a tournament. Absolutely recommend. The other thing is some type, I prefer a 3-in-1 shampoo. There's a funny meme where it's like women looking at shampoo and men looking at shampoo, and the woman is like, oh, this does this, 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 and this. And the guy's like, this says shampoo, so I bought it. And so I really like the 3-in-1. The other tip that I have, a lot of people love Head and Shoulders, and they like the idea of Head and Shoulders because what makes dandruff shampoo is they put something in it that is antifungal. And so the idea is if you use that for your shampoo and your body wash, that you post jiu-jitsu, you won't end up with any type of fungus. Who knows if that's true, but I know a lot of people buy into that. For me, I like a 3-in-1 shampoo that has tea tree oil in it because that is also something that is antifungal. And of course, you've got to have a towel. So if you've done jiu-jitsu for any period of time, you have had to shower at a gym and forgotten your towel and had to do like, well, I guess I'm gonna use this hoodie to dry off, or whatever else you have to use. Hopefully you had an extra gi in your bag or something like that that you have to use to dry off. I really love the Datsusara towel that they sent me. It is so lightweight. It can pack into like the smallest little thing, and it's also a full-size towel. It dries really quickly. It's antimicrobial. Yeah, highly recommend them. Thank you, Datsusara, for sending me this bag and this towel. So I have two things left for you guys. First is this absolute game changer of an idea, a thing of trash bags, and ideally scented trash bags. So hard truth for you is that after jiu-jitsu, you stink. But that's okay, we all stink. And the worst thing that you can do is take your stinky gi, your stinky no-gi stuff, and stuff it back into your bag and just hope that that isn't going to seep into your bag and eventually make your bag smell absolutely horrible. And it is going to do that. Even if you have the wet, dry bag part of your backpack, I've not found any of those to last very long. I don't know if it's just the jiu-jitsu funk is just so powerful it can eat through, but nothing beats having a bag that is separate to keep your dirty stuff in. And scented trash bags they've been my go-to for years. So, you know, you can kind of smell like that stinky guy plus vanilla. So that's ideal. But what's really cool about this Datsusara bag that they sent me is it came with a separate bag to put your stinky stuff in. And so I actually haven't tried this part of it. I still have just been using the trash bags that I have left. But that is a really simple way to stop stinking post jiu-jitsu. You can just empty that trash bag or whatever bag directly into your wash. You don't even have to touch it. You don't have to get out of the shower and use your hands, hug your stinky, gross stuff, and throw it in your washing machine. Just a really simple way to smell better on the mats. Now, the last thing is something that it's hit or miss for people. I honestly don't use a notebook for jiu-jitsu notes. Every time I've tried, it's like, put your right hand on the lapel, put your right foot on the shoulder, invert, then spin at a 92-degree angle, and then grab the guy's ankle. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what guard I'm in right now on these notes. But I will say this, a lot of us use jiu-jitsu as this active form of meditation. And for me personally, having the podcast, anytime I have a certain idea that just runs through my mind, I don't want to have to hold on to that. It's really nice to just have something to write down what that idea is. Or some people like to write notes about their training, right? How they feel, what they thought of, what moves worked, what moves didn't. And I've even reflected back on certain things, certain old jiu-jitsu diaries that I have, and gone like, man, it's so cool to see how far I've come. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with having a notebook and writing in it what matters to you. Of course, I'm a field notes guy, because who isn't, right? And then, of course, got the Pilot G2. If I'm not using a fancy pen, if we're using something that is kind of disposable, if it's not a Pilot G2, I don't even know what it is. But that's all I have for you. Hopefully you picked up a tip of the stuff that I keep in my bag, and maybe it will help you in the future smell better, get a little less injured, be a little more hydrated. But all in all, hopefully you just enjoyed this video. If you did, I would be happy to make more videos reviewing different products. But I just got to know that you guys enjoy them. So that's all I have for you. I hope that this video helps you guys suck just a little bit less at jiu-jitsu. Have a great day, guys.